Azure Files. So in Azure File is the it's a part of the it's storage, and there are difference to the files and the blobs. You can create a share, file shares. You can create file share snapshots, and well, let's deep dive into it. So the difference between files and blobs is we got SMB interface for the files. We got client libraries and REST interface that allows access from anywhere to the stored file. We also have a REST interface here, so that's not really a difference. We also have a client libraries here, but we don't have the SMB into the Azure Blob storage. So this is the difference. But in the Blob interface that allows unstructured data or flat namespace to be stored, so not hierarchical. Yeah. Okay, and when to use it. So if you want to lift and shift an application to the cloud, store shared data across multiple virtual machines, or store development and debugging tools, you can use this file, Azure Files. But if you need to use for the streaming purposes or random access scenarios, or even accessing application data from anywhere, then you use Blob. Manage file shares, you can actually manage on a different type of operating system. You can actually configure for that where you're connecting it from. For Windows, make sure the port 443 is open. 445 is open. For Linux, just you need to mount as a drive. Mac also you need to mount as a drive. And secure transfer requires SMB3 encryption. So that these are the key things you need to be mindful of. You can also give a letter to your drive when you create a share. Make sure you select authentication method. If you want a single sign-on, you can select Active Directory, or you can give a storage account key if your application needs to access that. And this is your connection string here. Okay. You can create a snapshot of the file share for the backup perspective. So you just click on an add snapshot, and that's how it creates it. Great. So there are tools available. So you got Azure Storage Explorer, which allows you to explore all your files and backup and storage, and also allow you to manage or upload files one by one and so on. You can perform import and export jobs using import export service. So this is another tool, and your best friend is AZ Copy. So AZ Copy is a command line tool where you can perform like this command: copy, you give a source, you give a destination, and any flags. Okay. So we're going to take on all the demonstrations together. So let's go into lab. Let's do a demo. And for the demo, I've just logged into Azure portal. So within the Azure portal, whatever we have learned in the previous session, all the slides we've been through about the storage and how we're going to create the storage accounts and so on, let's actually try and see how that works. So what we're going to do in this lab is we're going to create a storage account. So first of all, I just go and search for storage accounts. So when I look for storage account here, it goes in and I can create a new storage account. So click on create. And within this, I just need to make sure I've got the right subscription, and I create I created a resource group. So I'm just selecting a resource group here. And here I'm supplying the name, whatever the name I need to actually give a new name to it. Be careful here. The name is always has some limitations here, what you can do. So the name must be unique across all existing storage accounts name in Azure. So it's globally. It must be 3 to 24 character long and can contain only lowercase letter and numbers. Just lowercase letters and numbers, yeah? So we'll give a unique name. So let's give a name, say AZ104, say Cloud Week Training, and we just give number random, say 9. When you do a tab, it's going to make sure it checks and everything is okay. At the time of the validation, we will get the prompt. And here we're going to create a standard one. And we're going to select GRS. We're not going for the premium one, but you can give it a try in your own lab environment as well. Just be mindful of the cost. Okay, so in this one, I'm going to go next in advanced. Within the advanced layer, I have the REST API option to be enabled, allow enabling public access, whether individual, on the individual container, enable storage account by key access. And we got the TLS version. Make sure you select the latest TLS version, which is a 1.2. So just to give a proper protection on that security side. The other setup we have here, excuse me, where you can actually see all the permittable scope, and there are different type of scope, which we learned in previous session. And you can enable hierarchical namespace as well now in Gen 2 only. And we got the SFTP, blob storage settings, and Azure file storage. Now I'm going to go next to the networking, just for our understanding, which we're not going to change any settings here, but just to see, so we're going to keep it to the public access for all network for the demo purpose. And we're also going to keep the Microsoft network routing rather than internet routing. Yeah. Excuse me. We then go to the next level, which is the data protection. In the data protection, in the tab of the create storage account, this is a create storage account blade within the data protection side. And here we're going to review whatever is okay, everything is fine, there are no changes needed, then we can just continue with that. So what this does is enabling a soft delete means it's just like as soon as you delete a file, it doesn't delete it straight away. It just marks as a deletion. And then after that, you do a hard delete. So what we're saying is number of days it will retain as a soft delete, and then we can delete it. Enable soft delete for containers, enable soft delete for file shares. So all these settings you can enable. You can also enable point in time restore for containers as well. So you can bring back the restoration side, and the tracking is there. Okay. Now the next we're going to look at the encryption, and within the encryption, we then going to look at we will leave it to the Microsoft managed key because we haven't got any customer key, and also as key vault we haven't spinned up. So we will leave it to the Microsoft key right now. And I'm going to go for either blob files or any. So let's enable everything probably just to see how that looks like here. Excuse me. And you can also enable the infrastructure level encryption. By default, Azure encrypts storage account data at rest, and infrastructure encryption adds a secondary layer of the encryption. So if you want to enable, you can do this. I'm going to leave that. Tag always as a best practice, add tags, but for this particular exercise, we're going to skip it. Here, once the validation is done, there are no error have been presented. Whatever the settings we have done, it can be viewed here. Now, after everything is looking good, I'm just going to hit create. Now, this might take a little bit of time, about a couple of minutes, but it's not too bad in terms of the when we spin up VMs and other stuff. It takes literally a good chunk of time, but this one should be okay. So let's wait. Okay, it's accepted, and now it's spinning it up. Brilliant. So it's done now. So now let's go to that resource. So the storage account, what we have created. And here we have some of the areas which you can explore, in terms of the overview. You can see what type of storage, it is V2. You have all the information about the location and so on. And what type of tier is it? It's a hot. So all these elements here, which you can explore when you do this exercise yourself. Make sure you look at all the tabs, capabilities, recommendations, tools, SDKs, and so on. So within the tools, you should be able to find any other like Storage Explorer, PowerShell, CLI tools. So other element which we actually learned in the previous sessions as well. Okay, so the next step we're going to do, we're going to go into data management section for the redundancy, excuse me. So we scroll down to data management, we go to redundancy, and within the redundancy, we can look at the primary location, which is our East US, because this is what we supplied at the time of the create. And there's a secondary location, which is available is West US. Why? Because we selected GRS, if you remember. So that's the reason, like, it created this two regions within this deployment. Okay. Now here you can select whether it's going to be GRS or read-only, read access to geo-redundant storage or other option you want to select or change it to. That you can do. Okay. Okay, so the next step we're going to do, let's try and change this redundancy to LRS just to demonstrate like how that's going to look like. So I'm going to do this change, and we're going to, I think everything else looking good. There's nothing else to change. Let's go and hit save. So now you can see after creating LRS, it just moved to only one location, and the other location, the redundant location, has been removed. And as per our requirement, that has been changed. Okay. Now on the storage account, next step, what we're going to do is let's go and monitor the setting area, which is just down here. So within the setting, we're going to look at the configuration, and we're going to set the blob access tier to cool, because currently, if you remember on the overview, it was showing hot. So if I want to change it to cool, what I can do is blob access tier. Okay, it's just stuck, just moving soon. Okay, down here. So currently, blob access tier is hot. We're going to change it to cool just to save cost for this demo. But like, this is how you can actually change it if you really need to change it. Okay, let's update. Okay, that has applied successfully. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to manage blob. So within this manage blob, if you want to look at data storage and see the containers. So if I just go up here, on the left-hand side here, on the underneath the overview details or the menu bar, we can actually see storage browser. And these are the new tools all coming. So here you can see your table, queues, file share, blob containers, and so on. So, excuse me. Now, what we're going to do, this is the one way to actually view it, but also you must have noticed the option is here as well. So you can click on containers and it will straight away jump into container. So there are two ways to approach this. You can just go from here and go into the blob containers and then try and create a container here. Okay, so we'll stay here. And within this one, excuse me, we're going to create another container, but this time we're going to give a private access on this one. So let's put a container name AZ104 A, and container is available as a green tick, and the other setting here, we're going to keep it private. This is where you can actually select how you want your container to behave in terms of the security. So it's going to be private, no anonymous access. Excuse me. And here, encryption scope, I'm going to leave it as is. And let's create. Okay, so it has successfully created. Now what I can do, I can go into container. So it's more like a folder and upload a file. So what we're going to do, we're going to upload a sample file. So let's say, I think I got some files here. So if I'm going to browse and I got a text file, which is called license, let's upload this. So when I select, it's going to tell me the upload file here. if you are doing this exercise, like, or uploading files again and again, and if you try and hit OK, upload, and if this file already exists here, it will complain. So you probably want to do, if you want to override, you click on this button to override it. Okay. And we're going to hit upload. Okay. So that has successfully uploaded. Now, if I want to see this file, what I can do when I click on it, it's not going to open a file. You can download it and view it, or you have a URL to view it. So if I copy this URL and probably look at like in a URL directly, it should complain because it's a private. Yeah. So it says error, resource not found, because you don't have access to it. Okay. So this is how I can demonstrate, like, without authenticating, you can't really access this. Okay, so we uploaded this file. Now what we're going to do next is these are the, sorry. So let's quickly check here, uploaded options. So here you can see, like, what are the different options are available. If you have deleted a file, you can undelete from here, and you can pass all the metadata on the blob as well. Now this, you can actually do it from programming level as well. Yeah. You can select this, and if you like to change access level, you can always change access level to that blob. So this is only on the blob level. Here is a container, but like, you can change it to blob and make it anonymous if you like. Excuse me. Okay. Now, if I quickly go and let me try and find something which I want to show you. So on lease, we clicked on the license. There is a lock element. So if you look at the version, these are the different version: keeps, snapshots, edit. And here you can edit the file. If it is a text file, it will open up. And there's a SAS. So this is what I just wanted to show you. So you can set a key, and you can, like, generate a key. So you can keep it HTTPS. You want to start time this, end time probably, let's say we going to set for 1 day. So it active till tomorrow. What permission we granting is a read. You want to do, like, create and everything, you can give that permission as well, and generate a SAS token. So SAS token looks like this. So you can have a blob storage URL, and there's a SAS token. Now, you remember when I copied just URL, it didn't allow me to access. But say if I copy this URL with the SAS key, sorry, I got this pop-up here, which is stopping me. Okay, so here I've copied this URL with this. You can see the signature is here and all the parameter what I need. Now, if I hit button, it's just allowing me to download file. So it's given me access. And then when I hit open, it just opens that file. Okay. So this is one of the thing I just wanted to demonstrate quickly. The other thing we can do is we can go and look at probably the ownership stuff. Okay, yeah, let's do something like the backups thing and the file share stuff. So in Azure portal, what we're going to do, we can go into the blade where the data storage section is there. So if I go into here, let me go back to storage. And I got data storage element here, like in a section here. I can click on file shares. So we learned about the containers. Now we're going to do file share. So in a file share, I can just add a file share, give a name. So we give a name like AZ104-07-share. So we're creating this share. We're going to give that in terms of the tier transaction optimized. We can just leave it there. That's absolutely fine. And then we can go into the backup. So if I want to create a backup of this file share on a regular time, I can actually do this. So this is a resource group, new backup policy. And in this policy, you can add it and see like, how frequently you want to do the backup. So in a backup frequency currently is defined as daily at 7:30 p.m. UTC. Retention of daily backup point is retain backup taken every day at 7:30 p.m. for 30 days. So I can define this policy of the backup here. Then I can go into the review. It's going to go through the validation. Its validation failed. Brilliant. So what it's saying is Vault was disallowed by policy. Okay. By policy in this Azure, its backup is not allowed. So what we're going to do, we're going to disable the backup here, but for demonstration purpose, you can see that. So now validation is passed. I can create this. So in a demo environment, there's a policy we cannot create a backup. So that therefore, it was stopping me. Now, what we can do, we can, once it's created, there is a URL for it. There is all the settings and access level, everything is down here. The next thing I need to connect, correct? So if I click on connect, I can see the drive later I can assign. So I'm going to assign the Z. I can create is the SAS key or Active Directory. So on this one, what we're going to do is let's create in Windows Active Directory and click on show script. Yeah. So this is where if you remember in the slides, I showed you that script as well. We can copy this script and in the virtual machine section. So as a part of this exercise, I've actually created a virtual machine as well. So let me open a new tab. I hope it's ready now. Okay, yeah, it's there. So we got the virtual machine ready. So I'm going to click on the virtual machine. And underneath operations, we're going to run a command. Here you go. So in one of those previous sessions, we did run a command, so we can execute a script or we can run a command. So to run a command, we can use PowerShell script. That's fine. Yeah. Okay. So here in the PowerShell script, we're going to go and verify the script here. Let's allow. Okay, we're still waiting. The execution is happening. Should be done shortly. Okay. Let's wait for the execution to happen so we can run another script to verify whether the path is active or not. Brilliant. So we got the response back saying the Z drive has been created with this is a free space, this is the file share, that's a URL, and we now got that done. So here, what I'm going to do, I'm going to run a couple of command. So the command is going to be this one. Okay. So I have two commands. One is on the directory level, another one is on a file level, and let's run this. Okay. What this one is creating a new item. A new item is called one folder, and also new item file. It's creating a text file. So once the execution is completed, we should be able to see it. Fantastic. So we got the response back saying like, it's all created last write time and everything has been created. We're going to close this script window. And then we're going to go into let's refresh. Just going to do hard refresh just in case, like, okay, bear with me. It's just connecting here. Sorry, I'm just waiting for the control to come back to normal. Yeah, okay. So we go. Okay, so now we got the access back here. So here, what we're going to do, we're going to look for the share here, and let me just quickly. Okay, this everything on the side here looking good. Okay, let me just go back into VM. Let's connect. So I'm in RDP while it's spinning it up. There's another way also to see it is we're going to go into the storage account again. We're going to go into file share. And here I can see the folder got created. And within the folder, I got, when I do browse, I can see folder and the file. Yeah. So this is how like I can see it. But if you really want to check it from the VM perspective, you can go into VM. It's the first time putting it up, so it's going to take some time. Hopefully we can get the folder structure first. And here you can see the Z drive currently disconnected, but you can open it up. You might just like need a username and password to connect it, and then it will be done. So here, this is how you can actually see how this is working. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is create a security and the networking element. So we can just go and check how much security, how we can apply more security elements here. So I'm going to go into storage account here and scroll down to security and networking, and then go to the networking where firewall and the virtual networks are there. Okay. So here I have option for the firewall and virtual network. We're going to do is enable from selected virtual network and IP address, because currently it's unable to all network. So I want to restrict this. Okay. So for this one, we need to click a checkbox, which is called add IP address. So this is my IP address at the moment for this window. So I'm going to add this to make sure I don't lose the access. And after this, let me just give this save so we can then create a SAS key afterwards. Okay. Now to do this access check, we're going to open an in private window. So within in private window, we're going to add our IP address. So let's grab the IP address from here. And here we're going to add IP address. But also we just need to do quickly the SaaS URL we can generate and also try that as well. Let's do this exercise in a while. Okay, so currently we have set up this as a virtual network. It's spinning up in terms of the access. We got this allow access. We got Microsoft Network routing is enabled as well. So we don't have anything else to set up here. You can also associate this file share with other services, resource type as well. Okay. And if you like to associate a custom domain, the process you go through here. Okay, so what I'm going to do while we waiting for that script to execute, I'm going to go into overview, network security, and probably generate a new SaaS key because we didn't keep the record of the previous SaaS key. So once you lose it, you can't get that back. So I'm going to go into shared access signature. And here we have key1, access key, or we can use this access key as well. So let me just try and get the connection string for it. Okay. Okay, hopefully we might have a response. No, it's still running. Okay. Sometimes it does take time on the file share. Okay, let's not wait for it. Like, it's taking a little bit longer time. So let's move on to the next one. So what we can do, we can go into the networking tab again, and we can also try and do some more settings. So say here, we're going to open a Cloud Shell. Let's get that connected. And once it's done, in the PowerShell, we're going to run a command just to see, like, that works. So this is the command you run, but you must have the SaaS key URL, which is now we haven't got access at the moment. We need to generate a new one, but this is a command you need. Okay, and here you place. Sorry, it's a bit temperamental. And this is where you put down the SaaS key. This is a wrong command here. So we got this in typed both time. So this is how you can actually post the URI and then do the command. And when you do that, it will access, it will give you the current access on that command line interface. Okay. Now, so we're going to move on to the next task because while this is going on really fast. So we have typically completed what we need to show in terms of the storage account, but what I'd like to quickly touch base here, I can just show you, it's not part of the exercise, but here you can create a queue while giving a queue name AZ10407 QUE. And this is how you can spin up a queue. And then once you go into queue, you can do further configuration by adding a message, and the message can expire. You can programmatically send a message and ask the consumer to pick it up. So that's how it works. The other thing you can do here is a table. So in this table, as a part of the table, you can just give a name. Okay, so you cannot have this is one of those things you need to be mindful of. So the table name must be alphanumeric, cannot begin with a number, and must be between 3 and 63 character long. So it's alphanumeric, but it doesn't allow the hyphen. So I'm going to remove the special characters. Once I got the table created, I can go into table and generate access policy and then start working on it. The other best way to do it, you can get like download a storage browser as well. So if you want to connect through your local machine, you can use that. Okay. So this is where we have completed demonstration and the lab for the storage account. Let's move on to the next.